Humboldt penguin, the charismatic South American swimmer. The Humboldt penguin isn't just another black and white bird waddling around rocks. It's a feisty, charming, and surprisingly resilient species that has managed to carve out a unique niche along the rugged coastlines of South America. This penguin has won the hearts of researchers, conservationists, and everyday nature lovers with its dapper tuxedo-like feathers and awkwardly adorable movements. However, its story goes beyond being cute. The Humboldt penguin is also a representation of the fragility of the environment, a creature that is constantly on the verge of danger as a result of climate change, overfishing, and habitat loss. Found primarily along the coasts of Peru and Chile, the Humboldt penguin, Spheniscus humboldti, takes its name from the Humboldt Current, a Chile oceanic current that flows northward along the west coast of South America. The ecosystem in which this penguin thrives is powered by this current, which is full of marine life and contains a lot of nutrients. It supports everything from massive schools of anchovies to colonies of seabirds, sea lions, and of course, the Humboldt penguin. Unlike their Antarctic cousins, the Humboldt penguins don't live in icy wonderlands. For nesting, they prefer rocky or sandy shores, caves, and even burrows. Their climate is more temperate, and their challenges are different. They have to contend with land and sea predators, rising ocean temperatures, and human competition for their primary sources of food. Although they aren't as well known as the emperor or king penguins, their struggle for survival is just as dramatic. Their population has fluctuated over time. Physically, Humboldt penguins are medium-sized, standing around 22 to 28 inches tall and weighing between 8 to 13 pounds. They're not flightless in the traditional sense, they can't soar through the sky. But underwater, they fly in a way. They glide effortlessly and gracefully through the water by using their flippers, which resemble wings. Watching them swim is like watching birds take flight underwater, and they're built for it. Their torpedo-shaped bodies, powerful wings, and dense bones help them dive deep and maneuver with agility. They may look identical at first glance, but Humboldt penguins have a few distinctive markings that set them apart. They have a black band across their chest that looks like a necklace and pink skin around their eyes and beaks on their faces. A clever trick for a bird that basks in the South American sun, this pink area helps regulate body temperature by releasing excess heat. Their backs are black, while their bellies are white, a natural camouflage technique called countershading. From below, their white bellies blend in with the bright sky, while from above, their dark backs match the ocean depths. To avoid sea lions, sharks, and orcas, it is a built-in defense mechanism. Humboldt penguins primarily eat fish in their diet. Hairy. The incubation of the eggs and feeding of the chicks are shared responsibilities between both parents. They typically lay 2 eggs, one of which may hatch, however, the stronger chick typically receives more food. This leads to some natural sibling rivalry and survival of the fittest. The chicks spend about 10 to 12 weeks in the nest and are covered in gray down feathers. The parents alternate feeding trips during this time, returning regurgitated fish for the hungry chicks. The young penguins leave their nests once they have hatched and set out on their own to explore the vast ocean and all of its obstacles. Conservation-wise, the Humboldt penguin is listed as vulnerable by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN. At one point, their numbers were in the tens of thousands, but they have suffered severe population declines over the decades. Overfishing, pollution, climate change, human encroachment, and guano mining have all had an impact. In particular, the El Niño phenomenon, where warm water displaces the cold Humboldt Current, can cause fish stocks to plummet. When this happens, Humboldt penguins often abandon their nesting efforts or fail to breed at all. Another major threat is habitat degradation. As coastal development expands, penguin nesting areas get encroached upon. Tourists, boats, and urbanization bring noise, pollution, and sometimes direct destruction of breeding sites. Another cause for concern is oil spills, which not only cause damage to the feathers of penguins and reduce their capacity for insulation, but also have the potential to poison the birds if ingested while the birds are preening. There is hope despite these threats. In Peru and Chile, a number of conservation efforts are making progress toward protecting penguin habitats, enforcing fishing regulations, and educating the general public. Marine reserves and protected areas have been established in key regions, and many organizations are working to monitor penguin populations and address illegal activities. Ecotourism, when managed responsibly, has also become a double-edged sword, raising awareness and funds for conservation while sometimes disturbing the birds if not handled properly. In zoos and aquariums around the world, Humboldt penguins are popular attractions. Their charismatic personalities, expressive movements, and striking appearance make them favorites among visitors. Captive breeding programs have also been developed, contributing to the preservation of genetic diversity and providing potential support for wild populations. However, nothing compares to seeing these birds in the wild, diving into surf, navigating rocky shores, and standing proud as a symbol of South America's coastal ecosystem. What makes Humboldt penguins truly remarkable is their adaptability. From ancient guano mining to modern oil spills, they've seen many changes to their environment over the course of centuries. Despite El Niño events that rob them of, it has also helped identify critical feeding zones that need protection. Some penguins have been tracked traveling hundreds of miles in search of food, a testament to their endurance and navigational skills. However, there is more to the relationship between humans and Humboldt penguins than meets the eye. These birds help support local economies through ecotourism, drawing birdwatchers, photographers, and adventurers from around the world. Tour operators who promote responsible wildlife viewing have seen how penguin colonies can become a sustainable source of income for communities. It's a delicate balance, though. Too much tourism, and the birds may abandon their nests. Not enough oversight, and the surrounding environment may degrade beyond recovery. Then there's climate change, a looming shadow over everything. The Humboldt penguin's delicate balance is being threatened by rising global temperatures and shifting ocean currents. There will be fewer fish in warmer waters, which will result in starvation and missed breeding seasons. Increased storms and rising sea levels may destroy nesting areas, while shifting prey distribution forces penguins to swim farther and expend more energy to feed. It's a grim reality, but not a hopeless one. Conservationists are advocating for stronger climate action, better marine protections, and more research funding. In order to foster a deeper connection between people and the natural world, they are advocating for stricter pollution control measures, a ban on harmful fishing practices, and educational initiatives. With its vulnerable charm and determined spirit, the Humboldt penguin frequently occupies the center of these efforts. The Humboldt penguin is, in a way, like our own struggles. It lives in the space between the ocean and the land. It perseveres through the chaos. Despite the odds, it adapts, survives, and occasionally thrives. It serves as a reminder of the stakes in the fight to protect biodiversity and the consequences of failure. Recognizing the complexity of the Humboldt penguin's existence is essential to its appreciation. In a zoo, it's more than just a cute bird. It serves as a watchdog for the health of the ocean, a reminder of the challenges facing the environment, and a living organism fighting for its place in a world that is rapidly changing. The Humboldt penguin is a remarkable animal that is worthy of admiration and protection, whether it is silently gliding through frigid waters or standing defiantly on a rocky ledge. So, the next time you see a picture of a penguin diving into the water or walking across a beach, keep this in mind: there is a story of survival, adaptation, and perseverance behind that quirky image. If you spend time on the arid coasts of Peru or Chile, you might come across one of the Humboldt colonies that is more active. The Humboldt penguin is not only a part of nature but also serves as a reminder of our shared responsibility to preserve the wild places on. Imagine tens of thousands of penguins huddled together, their calls chaotic and loud, but somehow a chick finds its parent or a mate hears their partner across the crowd. It is a marvel of acoustic memory and evolutionary precision. Scientists call this the penguin signature call, and it's one of the most important tools in their survival toolkit. Guano, the nutrient-rich excrement that has shaped the landscape of their breeding grounds, must be mentioned when discussing Humboldt penguins. Centuries ago, guano was considered white gold by farmers and empires alike. It was among the world's best natural fertilizers. During the 19th century, there was even a guano war, with countries fighting over control of deposits. However, excessive harvesting caused penguins to lose many of their nesting spots as a result of the increased demand. While some recovery has taken place, the damage from those years still lingers. Guano provides the stable, undisturbed ground that is required for nesting by penguins. It's soft, insulates well, and easy to burrow into. Modern conservationists have taken this lesson seriously. Protective measures have been enacted in places like Punta San Juan and the Islas Ballestas. The breeding grounds are guarded by park rangers. Tourists are kept out of sight. Artificial nest burrows have even been installed in areas where guano has been stripped. Although it is still a difficult battle, these efforts are contributing to the stabilization of some colonies. Interestingly, Humboldt penguins don't migrate the way other birds do. They stay relatively close to home, but they may travel a great distance when they need food. During times of food scarcity, like El Niño years, this behavior is especially obvious. During such times, some penguins abandon breeding entirely, focusing all their energy on survival. It serves as a reminder of how delicately balanced their ecosystem is. When one component fails, ripples affect everything else. Another unique characteristic of the Humboldt penguin is its ability to thermoregulate in a region with dramatic temperature shifts. Unlike cold climate penguins, Humboldt penguins deal with intense sun and heat on the coastal rocks. To cope, they exhibit a behavior called gular fluttering, where they rapidly flap the skin in their throat area to release heat, kind of like panting. When the sun becomes too strong, they also spread out their flippers to cool down and spend more time in shaded burrows or in the ocean. There is no set schedule for Humboldt penguin reproduction. If there are plenty of food sources, they might mate more than once per year. But the reverse is also true. If food is scarce or environmental conditions are tough, breeding might be skipped. It is a system that can change, but it also shows how vulnerable they are. If there are several bad seasons in a row, the population can drastically decline. The odds against juvenile Humboldt penguins are especially high. A decision to care. Because if we don't, the mesmerizing cries of Humboldt penguins on the South American cliffs may one day cease to exist. Additionally, without them, the world would be much less magical. There is still time. Not much, but sufficient. Enough to alter the situation, enough to repair what has been damaged, and enough to guarantee that these remarkable birds will continue to glide through the waves of the Pacific Ocean for future generations. That future is not certain. But if there's one thing the Humboldt penguin teaches us, it's this: survival is possible when you keep swimming forward. Now I explain. These adorable facts about the Humboldt penguin will melt your heart. The Humboldt penguin might not live in icy Antarctica, but it's still every bit a penguin, with attitude. Named after the Humboldt Current that runs along the west coast of South America, this bird has mastered life in one of the world's most productive and unpredictable marine ecosystems. There is more to the Humboldt penguin than meets the eye, from its distinctive appearance to its eccentric behavior. Therefore, let's get down to the facts and learn more about this fascinating little swimmer in a tuxedo. 1. It lives where you least expect a penguin. The majority of people associate penguins with ice, snow, and frigid winds. However, the warm, rocky coasts of Chile and Peru are home to the Humboldt penguin. Far from the South Pole, these birds thrive in desert-like coastal climates. They get all the food they need without the icebergs thanks to the frigid, nutrient-rich Humboldt Current. 2. They're not huge, but they're powerful. Humboldt penguins aren't the biggest in the penguin family, but they're no pushovers. Adults weigh between 8 and 13 pounds and stand between 22 and 28 inches tall. They may look like they're wearing a black suit and tie, but don't be fooled, they're fast, agile swimmers built for ocean life. They have the ability to dart underwater like torpedoes, precisely pursuing fish. 3. They feel cooler because of the pink patches around their eyes. The pink skin that covers a Humboldt penguin's eyes and beak is one of the easiest ways to recognize it. That is not merely for display. These bare patches act as natural heat vents. These areas receive blood flow when the penguin gets too warm, releasing excess heat. It's like built-in air conditioning, perfect for penguins living in sunny South America. 4. They are extremely loyal and monogamous. In their own way, Humboldt penguins are romantic. Once they pair up, many of them stay together for life. They frequently reunite with the same partner each year when they return to the same nesting sites year after year. They even have special vocal calls to identify each other in noisy colonies. It's a love story that takes place amid shouting voices and crashing waves. 5. They nest in guano and caves. Humboldt penguins, in contrast to other penguins, prefer cozy burrows dug into guano, yes, bird poop, to lay their eggs. Or soil with sand. If they are available, other people make use of rock crevices or caves made by humans. Their eggs are protected from the heat and predators in these shelters. Guano once covered huge stretches of South American coastline, but guano mining during the 19th and 20th centuries destroyed many of these natural nesting areas. 6. Their favorite foods are anchovies and sardines. Small fish are a big favorite of Humboldt penguins. They mostly consume sardines, anchovies, herring, and occasionally krill or squid. They're expert hunters and can dive over 150 feet deep in search of. The El Niño weather phenomenon, which causes ocean temperatures to rise, can have a devastating impact on Humboldt penguins. Warmer waters reduce fish stocks, making it hard for adults to find food and impossible to raise chicks. During strong El Niño years, breeding may fail completely, and the number of penguins can dramatically decrease. 13. They're classified as vulnerable. According to conservation organizations, Humboldt penguins are listed as a vulnerable species. Overfishing, habitat destruction, pollution, and climate change have had an impact on their population. There are only about 12,000 breeding pairs left in the wild, according to estimates. But thanks to conservation efforts, awareness is growing, and their numbers are slowly stabilizing in protected areas. 14. They're popular in zoos. Humboldt penguins are one of the most common penguin species in zoos and aquariums across the US, Europe, and Asia. They adapt well to life in human care and are used to raise awareness about marine conservation. Many of these institutions participate in breeding programs that help maintain healthy, genetically diverse populations. 15. They are an essential member of their ecosystem. These penguins play an important role in the coastal food chain. By eating small fish and being preyed on by larger marine animals, they help maintain ecological balance. The extinction of Humboldt penguins would have a profound impact on the ecosystem as a whole, affecting everything from fish stocks to sea lions. 16. Some colonies are getting back on their feet thanks to protected reserves in places like Punta San Juan in Peru and Charismatic Island in Chile. Some colonies are recovering. In order to ensure sustainable practices, conservationists have constructed artificial nests, restored guano sites, and collaborated with local fishermen. Hope for the future can be found in the fact that these efforts are beginning to bear fruit. 17. They don't migrate but travel for food. Because they are non-migratory, Humboldt penguins do not follow a predetermined seasonal path like other birds do. However, they can travel hundreds of miles in search of food. Where there are the most fish, their movements are influenced. When food is scarce near the colony, they swim farther, sometimes even skipping breeding to survive. 18. They're great teachers for scientists. Because of their sensitivity to environmental change, Humboldt penguins are considered indicator species. Studying their behavior, breeding success, and diet helps scientists monitor ocean health. They're like little feathered messengers, warning us when something is off in the marine world. 19. They bond with keepers in captivity. Many Humboldt penguins in zoos form special bonds with their caregivers. Some even respond to whistles or recognize their names. Their intelligence and curiosity make them a favorite among zookeepers and visitors alike. Watching them interact with toys, puzzles, and... Now, about that suit, what's often overlooked is that penguin feathers are nothing like regular bird feathers. Humboldt penguins have dense, overlapping feathers that provide waterproof insulation. This helps them maintain their body temperature while swimming in the chilly waters of the Pacific. They can have more than 70 feathers per square inch, making them look like they are wearing feather armor that keeps heat in while keeping cold water out. These feathers are so well adapted that when they dive deep, you'll often see water bead off their backs like rain on a raincoat.